Hey guys, Mike here. So today's cult classic review is 1992's Army of Darkness, starring Bruce Campbell as Ash. In Army of Darkness, Ash is accidentally sent back to 1300 AD, and now he must fight the armies of the dead to collect the Necronomicon so he can be sent back to the present day. And so we have Army of Darkness. So guys, this movie in the series before watching and reviewing it today, I had not seen it before, nor had I seen the first two movies, Evil Dead 1 and 2. When I started watching Army of Darkness, I didn't actually know that it was a sequel to Evil Dead 1 and 2. But my understanding was that I didn't really need to watch Evil Dead 1 and 2 to watch this one, mainly because on the poster was Army of Darkness, obviously why I'm reviewing it, because the cult classic poster has had movies on there where the sequels are arguably just as good, if not better, than the first one. Like Alien. For me personally, I prefer Aliens. They're two very, very different movies. One's more of an action movie, the other one's more of a horror movie. Both still good in their own right, but I do prefer Aliens. But as well, the first Terminator movie's on this poster. Now, realistically, Terminator 2, much better movie. Obviously, there are a few people out there who probably think that Terminator 1 is better than Terminator 2, but realistically, Terminator 2 is just a much, much better movie. And I would argue that Terminator 2 should be on this poster instead of Terminator 1. But my understanding was that you can't really put Terminator 2 on there if people haven't already seen Terminator 1. So my initial thought was maybe Army of Darkness is the first one, but as it turns out, it's the third one in the series. But honestly, all these issues become moot because right at the start of the film, they give you a recap of what happens in the other two movies. So you're not lost as to why he's there or what's going on. And honestly, I feel I know enough about Ash from references in pop culture over the years. So I wasn't really lost about who he was or what his character's like. But with all that out of the way, let's talk about Army of Darkness. Ash's character alone makes me want to go back and watch the other two movies in the series. He's a very unique kind of protagonist, because Ash's character is one that you just cannot take seriously. And this whole kind of franchise is one that's not meant to be taken seriously. Really, the whole Evil Dead Army of Darkness franchise is just a massive spoof. It's a spoof on the horror genre, it's a spoof on the traditional action hero, and it puts it all together and it just works so well. Because Ash can come across as a very selfish and stupid kind of guy, but really, Ash is not a stupid character. He's more of a clown, and there's a very key difference to that. Because really, I don't see Ash as a stupid character because at the forefront, he's very blunt and he's very upfront. Sure, at times he can misunderstand a situation or not really take it as seriously as he should do. But really, when push comes to shove, Ash knows what to do in any situation. Or he just gets extremely lucky and somehow manages to get himself out of the situation. But as well, I would say that Ash is more of a caricature than a character himself. Because really, at his heart, Ash is just a badass one-liner spewing machine, and there's not really much else to his character. At least for me, that's how he comes across in this movie because I haven't seen the other one, so I can't really comment on what he's like in those other two films. Now, the story for Army of Darkness isn't really anything to write home about. It's pretty much guy lands in the past, has to get a book, and go home. There's not really a lot of nuance in the story, there's no twists or anything like that. It's just has to get from point A to point B. But still, despite this, Army of Darkness still manages to be an interesting story. But Army of Darkness' strongest quality, like Ash's strongest quality, is the comedy. Because I would describe Army of Darkness a live-action cartoon. Because a lot of the comedy with Army of Darkness comes from just how wacky and zany it is. Because most of what happens in this is pretty much just like an old-time cartoon. Ash spends a lot of his time running around, screaming, banging his head, falling over stuff, and getting in these wacky, silly adventures that just somehow he manages to get himself out of. And all of this just comes together and it just works. And honestly, if a lesser talent handled this movie, none of this would work. You just wouldn't be able to get invested in anything that happens in this film. And another thing that Army of Darkness does really well is costume design and special effects. Because in all honesty, the costumes and the special effects are quite dated. But they do have a unique charm to them which makes them stand the test of time. Because it has a unique blend of over-the-top costume design with really well done stop-motion animation. And it all just comes together in the over-the-top zany nature of the whole movie. And as well, the action in this film is really quite well done. There are probably one or two action scenes in this which are too up close, too shaky cam, and you can't really see anything that's going on. But a majority of the action in this movie is just really well choreographed and you can just see everything that goes on. And as well, the action doesn't feel out of place in this because it lends itself to the zany nature of the entire film. Now, I imagine Army of Darkness had quite a low budget. And honestly, I wouldn't give it a higher budget. I don't think that would be the thing that would make it better. Because really, the thing that makes Army of Darkness' action, comedy, and the whole film so good is how cheesy it looks. Because that's what makes the whole movie so fun. And honestly, I think if they threw more money at this movie, I think the quality would actually decrease. because Army of Darkness does a lot with the little it has, and that's something you can definitely applaud it for. So guys, would I consider Army of Darkness a personal cult classic, and would I recommend that you guys should see it? Now, I would definitely say that this movie is a cult classic, has everything that makes a great cult classic movie. Basically, I'd say the thing that makes Army of Darkness, and probably the other two movies, so iconic is how unique it is. It's got a somewhat unique character, unique settings, and just overall, it's just really fun to watch. However though, I wouldn't call this one a personal cult classic, because even though I did really enjoy this film, I just don't think it offered enough for myself for me to call this one a personal cult classic. Don't get me wrong, like I said, I can see why people enjoy this film so much, and I can see why someone else would put this one as a personal favourite. Myself personally, I just wouldn't consider this one a personal favourite. But as for whether or not you guys should see it, I would still definitely recommend that you should check this one out. Though, I would say, watch the other two movies before watching this one. You won't be completely lost if you don't watch them, but I think that you'll have a much better time if you did watch them. Okay guys, that's my cult classic review of Army of Darkness. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Whatever you think, drop it in the comments below. Until next time, I've been Michael. See ya!